Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you.
See, talking about these goals that you mentioned, everything is set up during the start of the year. The goal part that you mentioned, that is moreover, this mainly comes under the talent and performance. Talking about the goals. The goals are normally set up during the start of the year. Normally, the goals can be organization goals, individual goals. Talking about individual goals, it's not mandatory that the individual goals will be set up by the individual person. There are mainly two types of individual goals. Talking about one type of individual goals is which you can mention in other terms, as it the company expecting from you as an individual. If you are as a manager, what is their expectation as a manager? Also, individual goals can be anything that is not mandatory or that is not that much important from the organization perspective, that is something which is always optional. But talking about the individual goals which is set up by the company, that is something which is the main criteria that comes into picture during the performance review cycle. Because based on those goals, only they are going to judge whether the worker performed based on their expectation, and depending upon that the grading happens. Talking about the organization goals. Most scenario remains warmer. The organization rules are something that with respect to organization that you have to work diligently. If in case there are some 4 or 5 core values that any company has, you have to adhere with that. You have to behave properly. These are the basic goals that comes into picture what as an organization they expecting from you. Those are pretty much basic. Let's take an example. If you are supporting any client, let's take an example that you are doing the job on a timely manner. Customer satisfaction. If you are a salesperson, organization rule will not be important. It will be with respect to sales perspective or sales target. It will be more as an employee the company expects you to be. Those are main. The organization type of goals. Let me see if there is any organization goals here. Organization goals. Organizational goals can be set up at a department level, super level, and a top level as correct. Normally, organization goals are set up in such a way. It is mainly set up at the organization level. And mostly, as I said, for most of the organization goals remain safe. They set it up as all the organization and subordinates. It can be set up in that way. But again, it depends. Tell me one thing that when we set up organization, go to the top level, it automatically flow down to each org subordinate support. It's up to you. If you are choosing, it should only be set up for one specific organization. It will be set up for that organization only. If you want for this organization and all the supervisory organization that comes within under that, for all of them, it's up to you. In which way you want to set it up. Excuse me. Normally, you can go and you can review if in case you have the tenant access. You can go and you can review your tenant as you should be able to see all those details. What would be? For example, you can see a conduct customer service. It is 95% customer satisfaction. Is it related to a customer organization wherein they're talking about global support? Means there might be something related to customer service. Customer improve customer response time. These are two of the organization goals that they have set up for this specific organization. Similarly, we can set up different organization goals depending upon those respective organizations. Let me log into my account. And also I will see that you can review all those items at the latest stage. Once we are done with the session, if in case we have clouds and queries, we can discuss on those items in the next session. How we can review your goals. And if you have any question and queries on that, we can take that in the next sessions. This is about organization goals. Normally, as I was bringing about, initially the organization goals will be set up. There will be goals that will be set up for all the. Let me open some worker and let me show for those workers how that is set up. This is a practice tenant. Might be some different scenarios, unwanted test cases, you can. See here, there are three options. This is the individual goal. For example, 2020 Workday implementation, developed strategies to enhance these are the individual goals that this respective person is having. These are nothing but the organization goals. There are no organization goals, archived goals. What is archived goals? Let's take an example. I have set up some goals for this year, last year. In the section of archived goals, you will find those goals, which is already done. Those are the sections that you will be able to view here, performance review. The tabs that you can see here, each and everything has performance review, security. If in case you have the respective access, then only you'll be able to see it. I'm not sure what all access you have in your tenant depending on that. Only you'll be able to see. I have a recruiting admin, I have a security admin and talent admin. If you have talent admin, I think you should have all the access. There should not be an issue. This is the performance review. Normally, as we were talking about, initially, the goal is set up at the initial during the financial year whenever it starts for the respective companies. But talking about the performance review, normally it starts during the end of the financial year. If in case the client is following one review at an IA, normally in this review what happens is, what normally clients do is, let's take an example. You are a worker. They will set up the entire review process and they will. Once they initiate the process, performance review process, a task will be triggered to you in the Workday, wherein you have to go and you have to judge yourself. How much you grade yourself, depending upon your goals, that has been. There will be a grading system. Let's assume normally the rating system is 1 to 5. Let me show you. Rating system with performance rating. Basically, you see, rating system. Talking about the rating scale, it can be anything you can from 1 to 5. 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. You can grade yourself accordingly. This is something which the employee does first. Employee will grade themselves first against and then when this happens, when they open the performance appraisal window, or what exactly? Or they can read any time. When the performance, normally we call it as performance review cycle. Once this performance review cycle starts, when it is initiated, How that is initiated. Somebody will initiate, or how? Somebody initiates. The admin person normally initiates. I will show you all those items, how that is initiated and how things are done. But normally, I am briefing you about the process. Normally, it can be initiated for a specific group of people, for all the workers, all the criteria, and all the feasibility is possible. There might be a scenario we want to release only for California region employees, or we want to initiate for all the US workers, or we want to initiate for all the countries that we have in place. Tell me one thing. There was one question earlier that the performance cycle can be open for a job level also. They have multiple job labels. Can we open a performance reviewer for a specific job label only? You can open it at any given level that you wish to have. Let me show you that. Let's take an example. The performance review is already initiated. And after that you want to initiate for some sort of job, specific group of people. Once we initiate and we close, there is a window that this is the performance. Cycle ends unlocked. You cannot make any changes. Correct. You see, normally what happens is, once you are initiating it for all the people, there is a limit in that scenario. I thought if at the initial stage only you want, I will initiate it for this specific group of people only. That was a separate question. But other question was, they have initiated the cycle. And they close the cycle. Now performance after cycle is closed, but some managers come back and say that, hey, I did a mistake in the rating. I want to change my rating. How do you open it for a specific manager, a specific group of people, instead of opening it for everybody? See, that is something if in case. Already that is done. First of all, what you have to do is you have to delete those transactions or resend those transactions. If, in case those are not completed, they are still in progress, you have to cancel those transactions. They are already completed, but manager says I want to change the rating. You're getting my point changing. I did, finished everything. But I came back as a manager and I said, hey, I gave rating 2, but I think the rating will be 3. They give it, complete it. But they would have made changes to the rating. Normally what happens is manager has an option where he can send back to the employee. But if you talk for all the group of workers, I can do at a time that is not feasible. Let's take an example. You submitted. You came back to me. You said, this is something where I graded myself incorrectly. I want to recorrect it. As a manager, I can do that for, but it will be for you only, not for all the job levels. At that level, that is not feasible. But tell me about performance. What I'm talking about is a cycle. You start a performance cycle. Let me try to understand. How many of this? As I basically, once the performance cycle starts, it will go to the employer. There will be some set of questions. Let me show you. There is already a performance review that I saw. Let's take an example. This is already in progress. Normally what happens is, let me show you the questions how it looks and how employee mainly does. This is giving error. Normally what happens is, first of all, the employees should review themselves. They should give the grading once that is done. That goes. Once the employee submits it, it goes to the manager. After that, manager will review that. And normally, in companies, What they do is manager will have one-on-one session with the respective employee. Let's take an example. You did some grading. There are chances you can grade yourself more than what you have delivered. There can be a number of scenarios. Manager will review with him. You have graded all this much on this, and after that there will be some discussions, and based on that, manager will finalize. You graded yourself 5, but I think 5 is not justifiable because you did this, and you came to a conclusion, and the manager graded you finally 4. Similarly, that there will be multiple levels on which they will do grading. It's not overall. You have to grade only one time. There can be multiple questionnaires. We can set up templates. We can set up the performance review template wherein we can highlight multiple scenarios wherein you have to grade yourself, not only on one. Who does this template? Our IS team or the manager. As a consultant, we have to set the template. We have to do it. I will brief you how the template is done, what the employee can see, what the manager can see. Each and everything can be limited and restricted. Whether you talk about competencies that we set up within the template, each and everything can be configured or altered or managed or changed. On what items you want them to comment as rather than grading. You have to justify why you're grading this much for yourself. You have done exactly. I can mandate the comment section. You will mention this, I have done. And after mentioning that, you can give yourself reading as a 4 or 5, depending upon that you will have a discussion with your manager. Once you discuss with the manager, and finally, manager will finalize that and he will submit. After that, it might go to maybe the manager's manager. As talking about this process that I'm briefing, this is something that internally company decide. Each and everything can be changed. Not that it is going to the employee first. After that, it's going to the manager again. Manager to manager to manager. After that, it will get finalized. Talking about all this process is being maintained by the business process. Performance review. Start performance review. Can you see this? Trope. That's the default definition. This is the practice, and you might not find anything as a default. Normally in your company, there will be a default one only, and they might have multiple others, but normally it should be the default one. Normally this is something someone has for practice purpose. Someone might have created it. You can see there is an initiation when the performance reviews start. Once this is started, after that it goes to the complete self-evaluation, which is going to employ yourself, it will employ. After that, complete manager review. Once this is completed, it will go to the manager evaluation. After the manager evaluation, it can go to manager's manager evaluation. It depends on how you set up basically. After that, for the confirmation purpose, once that is finalized, the employer should know this is the finalized grading that I have got. Once everything is done, once it is completed, a notification might go to the employee. This is a greeting that you have got from your managers and approved from the manager's manager. For all this step, there is a specified timeline that is set up. Normally, when we start the performance review, we keep things in mind. Let's take an example. I am initiating the performance review as of today, but this going to be in the system effective maybe from November 1st. I want to give my workers more time to complete the performance evaluation. What is the timeline that you want to give? Each and everything can be maintained and handled as per the required. This is the brief about the entire performance review that goes on. For you, First of all, you have to gather the requirement. Because every year the performance review that they want to do it will differ. Maybe from the business process point of view, they want to make some changes. Talking about from the business point of view, there might not be some changes. There might be some changes in the process point of view, talking about competencies. Talking about a rating scale. Talking about what are options that the employee can see. What are options that the manager can see? There might be some changes with respect to that. This is the technical aspect. In the backend side, they will not tell you. You initiate the performance review. You do that. They're not concerned about that part from you. They will tell in this performance review, this is what we are expecting changes. In this manner, I want the performance review template. Second, and this performance review template is going to be for global, for everybody, or it keeps changes. You can have multiple performance review template depending upon different group of people that you have in your company. They will give me the template basically how they want. Basically, I just need to serve the templates. But requirement, this is not the first time that your company is doing the performance review. There might be existing template in that one. They might ask you to make some changes. This is something which we have to work on. Talking about, you have to create a new performance review template. This is something which you will be doing. And there is one limitation with respect to performance review template. If you have created any and if that is used, let's take an example you created. A performance review template. You did one performance review for one Wimpler. After that, you cannot make changes to this performance review template. If it is in use, then we cannot make changes. These are the various. Let us look into the really important that we do not have view. The search to view in the before. Because I don't want to conflict or remember. View review talent. No, that is a report. It is a task. View employee review template. Open that. Fourth one. Click over there. Active by review type. Go to performance review. Third one. Annual review. You have media check-in. Open to entry. The latest year-end performance review. You can add. You can cross this. This is the review template that they have set up. See, talking about wait a second. Looks they have something you have to know. Not even the requirement. You will have discussion. They will brief you how this performance review is being run. Because, see, this is the normal name and we'll review. This is the name of that review player. 2023 year-end performance review. Applies to regular employee hired before quarter for current year. This is only for those workers. This annual review is only for those workers who would satisfy this criteria. Can you go to the related action of this applies to? Beside here, there will be a 3 dot that should pop up. Open that in a new tab. Employee review rule. No. There is already employee review rules coming in. Open this view in the new tab. This is the criteria for this specific annual review. They have defined hire date should be first day of the calendar quarter. Less than or equal to first day of the calendar quarter, and employee time is the regular. Only this group of people are eligible for this. For this annual review, go back to the previous tab whichever worker will satisfy. This they will only come period, start period, end date. They have kept it blank anyway. I'll brief you about all these options that is available here. Slow down. Talking about this annual review, there are 4 sections that they have set up. First one is goals, second one is values, third one is questions, fourth one is overall. They have 4 different sections. Go to the magnifying glass of the goals. Beside the goals, we have magnifying glass. There will be 3 dots. Click on the 3 dots. Scroll down and this one, that is probably not. Scroll. For the goal section, see here they have set it up. For example, I'm just giving a brief. I will discuss about the file. For example, you can see item comments or reviewers. Who can mention the comments? It's all reviewers. Require item comments for manager and employer means comments is required. Mandatory. Manager should also provide comment. Employer should also provide comment. If you scroll down it up, you can see the rating scale. Rating scale is again important. They have not decided to the rating scale. Maybe there. This is for this group of workers. They do not want to judge based on the ratings. That could be a scenario. Can you cancel this? Can you cancel this? Can you cancel this? This configure employer review template. Can you go there? Click there. Scroll down. Can you see this? Goals, values, questions over a section. Configure section. Go to the goals one. Click on configure section. Normally it will not allow you to edit, but click over there. See, normally this is the limitation that I was talking about. You are not able to see any goals. The reason being is this is already being used. If in case this employee review template section is used by any of the employee, you will not make any changes within the goal section. Normally this is for you as a testing. Normally what will happen is you will set this up. After that you will test from your side and someone from your team or maybe from the management, they will be doing the testing. After doing the testing, they say, I want to make these changes. The goal should not be this, should be this. Or there can be another scenario where they can tell you within goals, we have this many questions. Let's make it to 2 or 3. You will not be able to make any changes until or unless you delete all the one that is already completed. You have to delete that. After that, you can edit here. Cancel this. This is the limitation that I was talking about. When the goals are being used by any employee, then you can't make any changes, correct? Cancel this. Now, tell you what they will be mainly expecting to explode out. Normally, you can see the sections, template section configuration, goals, values, questions overall. This is normally the section that you have to set up. They might say, I want to use the same for the upcoming year. Normally, you will do nothing. You will copy this. You will create a new one. That's it. Make it for 24. This is today. Make it for 24. That's it. There might be some changes. They can this is the change that we are expecting. You have to get those changes. It's done normally, remember. As you do not know much about this. If they ask you anything that it is feasible, that is possible. They will ask me, can we do this? Can we do this? I need to give them answer. Yes, this is feasible. Most of them are feasible, but I will tell you what normally is not feasible. If they have already done something, you gave me a scenario in where you said, The review is already completed and they want for a specific group of level of people. That is not possible. That's not possible. Once anything is initiated and after that, you want to make changes. At that point of time, things are not possible. Before that, whatever you want to do, you can make changes whatever is needed. Before the launch is happened, one launch happens mainly for the testing purpose. We initiate the performance review and maybe sandbox and maybe implementation tenant for the testing purpose. At that point of time, if you suggest any changes, we can do it. If in case you have launched it in production, after that, you will come back and you will ask me to do. I have to cancel the entire process and I have to redo that. Normally this scenario should not come out. For avoiding this scenario, normally what we do is, whatever the requirement that they have, we gather the requirement, we get the requirement from them. After that, we will do the configuration. We will ask them to test. Once everything is tested and everything is done, after that, things will go into production. And once this goes into production, the employees are not supposed to start. Let's take an example. I have moved all the talented performance review item in production on Friday. On Monday again, it will be in sandbox. Normally what I do is we test it again in production. We test it again after production is done in sandbox. Just to make sure everything is good or not. And if you are still expecting any changes, let us know now. Because if, in case, any employee goes and starts the performance review and completes it, we will not be able to make any changes to the template. Template cannot be changed. Correct. But once rating is given by the managers, can the rating be changed later on or no? The rating can be changed. The rating, there is no issue. Go back to the BPs are not available. Or else I would have shown you. What are the options that we have? Yes, I'm not able to access the sign box. From here maybe. In my office, I can access it. With the office network. Possible. Do one thing, search for authentication policy. Let's look into that. In case they have set it up, the authentication policy. Open the first one. They have 4. Go back to the review templates. Let me see how many review templates that they have for performance. Search for review templates. I think these are there here. This is for one group of worker. There might be multiple. Go to the search view. Employee review template. 4th one. Click over there. Active by review time. See the PIP plan that you were talking about. Go back once. The PIP plan that you were talking about, this is for open that. Hopefully they have set up anything there. Open this in a new term. Let's look into for which group of people they have set it up. I don't think they have set up. No, it's already there. No, they don't have. I think no, you have clicked it incorrectly. Go back. No. In the review template, only there is a back button. That pops up. Not the cancel button. Click on that active by review type. PIP performance improvement, click on this. Click there. They have not set up any criteria. Applies. See what maybe will happen here. Let's take an example. I want to run. Now how? Normally, how they have set it, they have not set it up any criteria. Or else they could have set up a criteria here. Anyone who got a grading of 1 in the performance review. They will go into that. But normally companies does not do that. Let's take an example. They highlight some group of workers and for whichever they want to introduce the PIP. They will start another review named as performance improvement plan where they will click on this one figure. There is only one section that they have mentioned, supporting documents. They might highlight something in the documents. If you do not perform this, we might terminate you something that. That is the scenario. And see, wait a second. Can you see this? Employees review started too. Correct. This is already started for people. Open that. Click on 2. Highlight it too. Open any of the worker. Worker history. You do not have access to worker history. Maybe in this turn you don't have access. It's implementation. Maybe that's good. That could be the reason. Go to performance. Performance reviews. Click on this again. We have annual review. We have mid-year check-in. Normally you can do one thing. When you go on the call, what are the pointers that you may ask? Normally there are multiple reviews that you can see. This is something which we are seeing in implementation. This might not work. Maybe in tomorrow's session look in detail with respect to sandbox tenant. Then we will look what are the reviews that we are available. That is available. BDR check in will not come into picture. Mainly, the one that will come into picture is nothing but annual review. Click on the annual review. In annual review, I think we had only one. How many we have? Click there. There are multiple. Only 3 actually. It's every year. No, wait, we have 2023 year and we have annual review. We have compensation performance review. Template. This is related to compensation leadership annual review. Can you see this? Leadership annual review. This is for leaders. There might be a group of people who are leaders. This is for them. Open that for them. The criteria will be different. Click that's a ELT. They call executive leadership team. Here you can see applies only to leadership. Scroll down goals, values, competencies. This is supporting or additional documents. This is not employee review started 0. This is not started for anyone. Click on the configure employee review template section. Scroll down. Click on the goals configure section. Can you see this is visible now? Because this is not being used by anyone. I scroll. That's it. Can you see here? Consolidate. These are all items that we can see here. The section rated items. For respective ones, normally what happens is, there are different sections, goals, other options that we have. Normally for every section, how it should look to the employee, how it should reflect to the managers, all things, all the sections. Configuration works from here. Scroll down, you can see require items, require item comments for. All these things can be done here. Cancel this. I object to section configuration level override. Override level section comments. Item content load content from previous. After Monday, what I will do is I will start briefing you from the start. I will brief you what is the use of each of the options that we have. What it can do mainly. That we will start. Just now I'm briefing you. After that, start. Correct. That's true. Cancel this now. I think I have to start from scratch. I understand each point. Otherwise, I might understand the top level, but not the. No. See, there is nothing. First of all, at the initial stage, that's why I'm briefing you about overall that. Because that's what you said. Unless I would have started from scratch only. No, that's good. At least give an idea how entire thing works. Little bit more detail, but once we start, then start with step by step. Start with how goals are configured, how it will be configured for air. Supervise your organization level or in whichever level you want. Just search for view competencies. View competencies. We are talking about the search. Click over there. By category. No, go back by category. How they have categorized them. Disability, behavior, knowledge, leadership. Can you see there are different categorizations that they have done there? Are different competencies. They have been using go to the management, change management. No, in the bottom I can see management. It is management. Go to the management, open that, click. Can you see the description here? Determines objectives and strategies. Organized work, set priorities. Determines resource requirement, coordinates. This is for that purpose. There are different. The competencies that is set up. Do one thing. In tomorrow session, what do is, if in case you have the sandbox tenant access, we will review the business process. We will cross the reply. What are the review templates that is available? And what are the questions that you have to ask when it comes to the requirement? Apart, you don't have to ask anything. You have to understand the requirement. What you have to ask, we will discuss. After that, what we will do is we will start from the scratch. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.